I'm going to start working on figuring out a clutch, and I just have a belt. It's obviously too long, but it'll give me the gist of what I need and how I'm going to do this. Let me set the camera so I can show you what I'm thinking. And I picked up some bushings, some rod, and this. My metal supply is running short, but this fits that just nicely. So that'll make a nice pivot. And these will be kind of somewhere welded. You know, I'll figure that out. That's what I'm going to do. Figure out where to weld these, how to make this so it, oops, running away there, pushes on the belt to tension it up. And it looks like I might have to trim a little bit of the metal on the gas tank out, which means I'll have to remove the tank and cut it out and repaint it, which is no big deal. I have plenty of paint, and I'm going to be painting more green, so no biggie. But this really needs to be on here, and I might cut it a little bit, but this bolts to the engine, and then the gas tank bolts to that. So that is what supports the fuel tank. So no matter what, I got to kind of leave that there. Plus the sheet metal that I'm going to use attaches. I'm going to attach this to that, and obviously I'm going to have to cut this up and redo it, but that'll give me a nice fit around the top there and look REO-y. And if I have to even cut it up there, it's no big deal. It's, you know, it'll save me some work in making a sheet metal, you know, for all this, just to kind of dress that up and hide it all. And I'm also I've contacted a guy about a recoil starter, so I might have a recoil coming, and if I do, it'll come with the shroud, so all that'll have to be painted too. So like I say, I'm going to be painting green anyway, so it's no big deal. But let me get to horsing with this, and I'll show you what I'm thinking of doing. You can see how I made the idler, and if it doesn't, you know, if this is too long, I can shorten it up. It's no big deal. I can change that, but that looked like a good dimension to me to you know, so the belt slack will be there, and I'll make a stop so that stops about there. And I'm not welding anything on the other end until I have a cable and a handle to pull and see how much, you know, I need to pull and the leverage, and, you know, by how high I need to make that one over there, or the dimensions. And I'll probably have the arm go this way so it pulls up like that, or maybe even just down slightly so it pulls up level, like so. If this was the other side, maybe like that. That would tighten the belt. But we'll horse with that when we get some cables and stuff. I just, you know, wanted to get this together here, and I think I might make something that goes from here over to there, so that this engine plate isn't, you know, just hanging willy-nilly with no support. I don't want to weld something between here and here. I don't think that would look good, but if I have to, I will. But I'd just soon not. So that's why I want to put a little something from there to there. We'll see what works out better, though, for that. I made a little doodad here to go, and this is just tacked on with one little spot, but I can tighten, and I'll double nut these, and maybe even put rubber in between them to dampen vibration. And it's a little loose in there, so I can slide the engine back and forth, because this changes angles slightly as you slide the engine back and forth, so that's midpoint and it's about centered, but when it's all the way back, it still works there, and when it's all the way forward, it still works there. So, you know, if I need to adjust for the belt length any, I can loosen these up and then retighten them. But my option was to utilize this, use this right here that was on the REO mower, and make this originally would have went to the handlebar on the REO mower. And I was thinking, well, I can use it, and that'll keep this from you know, moving down and stuff. It's pretty rigid, but you know, it's going to move when you tighten the belt and put torque on it from the motor. So I'm hoping this will stabilize it. So see how it moves. And I'm hoping, because I tightened these up and I can actually lift the motor a little bit with it. And when it's all tightened up, without moving it, I don't want to break it off, but it does stabilize the engine a bit. So I'm hoping that works. My other option is to, you know, weld something in between, you know, the engine plate and just grabbing everything out here just to kind of show you. The other option is weld something from the engine plate up to the frame, and I just don't know if that would look good. Even if I put a bend in it to kind of dress it up, it, you know, it would not be as strong, you know. And I don't know, I think this is what I'm going to try. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, then we'll put something between here if need be somehow. And I'm in the process of the seat, obviously originally there, and I'm thinking of putting it about right there and about that high, and that's why I got this black iron pipe, so I can cut it off on an angle and weld it onto the frame there somehow, or just weld it on, and then this will cut the threads off too. And then this will go in there, and I'll weld a nut to that so I can use this original, definitely going to use this original fastener for it to raise and lower the seat. So I'll find a nut that this threads into, drill a hole in the pipe and weld the nut to there. So we have, you know, a way of adjusting the seat height a little bit, but I'm going to make it so it, you know, it's at a comfortable height just a little bit from all the way down. I relocated the seat and welded up the seat hole, and this tube was kind of flimsy for that kind of weight, and it started to bend the tube in, so I welded a gusset up to the original seat hole into there. And obviously, you know, I'll grind the welds out and finish them up, but right now we're just getting the thing fabricated, and I welded up the hole on the bottom too and put the original seat height adjusting bolt on there. I still got to reinforce the seat a little bit, but that's not a big hurry right now. But next I'm going to make the foot pegs, which are going to weld to here, probably right about there where the bolt holes were originally. Yeah, I did weld it in to the fork a bit, and I might run some beads of weld down here just to, I don't know, we'll see, but just do some decorative, but I might just leave it too, or maybe I'll run them on the inside so it simulates that part of the fork. But that's going to all have filler in there anyway, so it looks nice. But I'm going to whack these things off. The hacksaw won't fit in my bandsaw, so get the hacksaw out and hack these off. And I think I showed this in a past video. I have kids tricycle pedals. They're going to be the foot pegs. Oh, and the hand grips too. So yeah, it's going to look, retain that tricycle-y look. And I think I'm not going to extend it after sitting on the seat here. I'm not going to extend the handlebar out. I might just add a couple inches down in here, so it's raised as high as it could go, and if I could raise it another inch, that would be nice. So I'm going to actually weld some, I think this is 3/4 inch. That's a little smaller. That might be 1/2 inch. But anyway, I'll find some tubing and we'll extend that up, just so if I want to raise it or lower it, I can. You know, I want to keep those tricycle features, Sears Murray built tricycle features on it. So let me get to sawing those off. I'm not going to video like sawing and welding. It's just, you know, boring. Everyone knows how to do it. But I want to show you what I'm doing as I'm going, and so you can kind of get the picture. But moving that seat made all the difference in the world. Absolutely. Oh, and another thing too, I got a recoil coming for this REO engine from the blower housing out, everything but the flywheel. So when I take the blower housing and this off, I'll pop the flywheel and run a wire out here for off the points for a shut off. And I'm going to have to take the gas tank off and notch a little bit out here for the belt, which I kind of figured. So I'll repaint the gas tank when I repaint the new blower housing recoil assembly I'm getting. And, you know, I got a lot of green to paint, so we'll do all the green at the same time and all the cream. I still got to pick out the cream color, so I'm going to get paint chips out one day and start going through them, finding something that goes with that green well. My mom had a cream 76 Mustang Ghia, and that cream was kind of nice, and I think it would go good with that green on the engine. That's actually mixed to the original color. I had these things when they're off, they're greasy on the back side, and they're perfect. The paint was perfect on the back side of those. That's what I had this paint mix to match, was the back of those. So that green is correct for a 54 REO engine. This was off of a different, I got this from a guy that I got the pulley and stuff from. So this wasn't off the mower that engine came from, but it's close enough. Anyway, let me get to cutting here and get those foot pegs on. Now you can see what I'm going to do with the foot pegs, and like I say, they're going to have those plastic pedals on them. It's going to look really good. I'm going to spend as much time finishing welds and doing body work on this thing as I am building it. There's a surprising amount of welds I've done on it. I welded this up solid, and I bolted the engine on and tightened this thing up that I made, and it's still, the engine still moved a little bit, and it was moving the whole frame there. So I'm going to make a bar to weld from up here, and I'm going to curve it over the engine this way, and I kind of made a pattern out of coat hanger, and I'm going to heat this with the torch and bend it and hopefully come up with something that will work. and give it a quick fit, and then I'll continue horsing with it. I'm not going to video it all. You get the picture of what I'm doing here. I kind of made that years ago just to do this kind of stuff. Tacked, cut, tacked, adjusted, retacked several times, and I'm pretty happy with the way it is now. I can't go over that way anymore because the engine all the way forward would hit this bar, and I wanted the bar about even with where the seat bar kind of, you know, just, I don't know, I just think it looks nice. But I couldn't, you know, like I say, I couldn't make it go dead center, so it's a little turned out, but it looks really good. I'm happy with it. And I'll turn the wheels so you can see it a little better, but I think that's going to do good. The engine clears it. The engine's all the way forward on the plate, and I think I'm going to weld that up solid. The engine's nice and secure there, it doesn't wiggle around. I'm going to cut that thing off with the plasma cutter, and that will be the, you know, to stabilize the engine. I was hoping that I could do it with a rod. I didn't want it up here, and really it was moving this whole bar, so I really needed to do this. There's no getting around it, and it doesn't look bad. It looks okay. I'm happy with it. I'm going to weld that up solid, take the engine off for the 300th time, and it's just sitting on there. I just kind of, you know, so I can lift it on and off just to double check everything. So all right, let me get it welded up and get that cut off. There it is, all secure now. I can really move that, and the engine doesn't move any, so I'm super happy with the way that came out, and it looks good. Looks good from both ends. Once everything's painted up, I'm going to have a, like I say, probably a solid day of just grinding and touching up welds, and then another day of probably doing like body work. I'll use some Marglass or Duraglass or something like that, you know, to really make the welds disappear. And I think it's going to look amazing. I'm really happy with how it's coming along. So next I'm going to start, might take it to the auto parts and get a belt, and then I'm going to start making all the controls and whatnot, and I'll show you where I'm going to put the throttle like a shifter. That's where I'm going to put the throttle, and I'm going to make a sheet metal cover for it when I'm done attaching it. I might take the cable off so I can tack it on there. I'm just going to put a few little tacks to hold it in place, and like I say, I'll make, you know, I got a lot of sheet metal to make for it too. That's going to take probably a few days of fiddling to make all the sheet metal covers for everything. But I want that to be like a shifter, so that would be like a car in park, and then, you know, you'd pull it back, and that would be like drive, which would be the fast governed RPM of the engine. And then the throttle cable will come around. Oops. I'll have to cut it, but it'll come around there. You know, once I get everything, and then I'll just put a loop in the cable, and there will be a spring from the cable to the throttle, and then I'll put one of those barrel things on that'll touch a spring that's insulated to shut the engine off, so I don't have to have one of those things to push onto the spark plug doohickeys. But you know, and I'll just run the cable under the engine block like that. That'll work out good. So anyway, next I'm going to make probably the levers to work this and the disc brake.